Mr. Brian Tracy. Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please sit down. Well, actually, the honor is mine to be with you. I am so impressed with James and what he's done in this industry. He's literally blazed new ground, and he's become the very best teacher of speakers in the world. I wish when I had started, I had had an opportunity to go through James' seminar, because I didn't. When I first started, Barbara remembers, we'd been to several seminars, and we said, hey, I can do this. You ever get that? I can do that. I can give a seminar. And what you do is you count the number of people in the room, you multiply it by 1,000, you deduct 50 cents, and you think it's all profit. Right? You ever do that? Yeah. You say, hey, geez, we could do that. We could make a lot of money. Now, all entrepreneurs start off, of course, they want to love and they want to serve and they want to help, but they really want to make a lot of money. I mean, that's how you start off. So and it was very helpful to me when I started off, because I'd been in sales over the years, but I learned how to sell again. I sold my house, I sold my car, I sold my furniture. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? It's almost like I was an addict with a habit, and I was feeding my habit. My habit was speaking to people. I worked out in the first year, I paid $112 per person to sit and listen to me. In terms of promotional costs and hotels and everything else. I remember my first seminar, I hired this guy to sell seminars for me. His name was Dennis. I'll never forget. I'm still looking for him. He said he was a professional seminar salesperson. He had sold for all the companies. He was going to put 100 people into my seminar at $295. This was many years ago, and that was a lot. He ended up with 7. And of the 7, 6 didn't pay. And of the one who did pay, he wouldn't pay until about 6 weeks later. So I still looking for that Dennis guy. I said, well, we had a talk afterwards, and I've not seen him since. But my point is that I didn't know anything about what I was doing. I just wandered into this almost like a kid, and I had none of this information. And so what James is giving you is so priceless. It saves you years and years of hard work in terms of learning all by yourself. You know, about 90% of speakers never succeed because they don't learn these things. They just wander around like a drunk at night, banging into the lamp posts and trying to figure it out, and looking at how little money they have, and they worry about money all the time. So it's a wonderful thing. Well, I'm really happy to be with you. I'm going to share with you some ideas which I think are the most important ideas that I have ever learned. Well, when I was in my early 30s, I was a new speaker. Somebody called me up, head of an entrepreneur organization, and said, would you speak to our group on self-made millionaires? And I said, sure. That's what all speakers do. They say, sure. Any subject. Family relations, stress, time management, self-made millionaires, sales, leadership. You called the right person. So I hung up the phone, and then I suddenly realized I'd wanted to be a millionaire since I was in my teens, and I was still broke and struggling, and I didn't know anything about self-made millionaires. So I began a study, a detailed study. It's taken me years now. I'm now probably one of the foremost authorities on self-made millionaires in the world. I have read everything that's been done on it, plus the research studies and the background studies and the interviews and everything else. And I've written books and articles and done courses on self-made millionaires. And one of the things that I learned, which is so simple, is that in order to become a self-made millionaire, you must decide to become a self-made millionaire. And that it's so simple. Now, I'm going to give you 3 words. Make a decision. Make a decision. Make a decision. Now, listen to what James says, and James will offer you every single kind of way to be more successful in this business, but it all begins with you making a decision to damn well do it. You know, I'm going to give you the 2 keys to success. You know what the 2 keys to success are? Never changed. One is get started, and the other is keep going. Is get started and keep going. And everybody who succeeds gets started, even though they don't have all the information, and they just keep going. They will not quit. You cannot stop them unless you drive a stake through their heart. So here we go. Now there's a freeway, and this is the freeway of life. And once you get on the freeway, you can put your pedal to the metal, and you can make an enormous amount of progress. And this is where you get with knowledge and skill. If your income is going up at 25% per annum, which is about 2% per month, which is about 0.5% a week, that means you're getting a little bit better each day. Is that possible, by the way, 2% a month? 0.5%? Of course it is. With what you learned here, you could double, triple, quadruple your earning ability very quickly. Anyway, at 25% per annum, you double your income every year, 2 years and 7 months. Now, once you've doubled your income on the high road, moving along the freeway, what do you do then? You double it again and double it again. Now you know how. You just keep getting better and better and better. And there's not a single person in our field, the entrepreneurial field, who did not get there by just getting progressively better. Just continually learning. Breathe in, breathe out, learn, and get better. And as you get better, it's like climbing a ladder. Each new skill or ability climbs the ladder of income. As soon as you stop learning new skills and abilities, you stop. And when these people flatline at 1 year, their value stops. And basically, they're paid 3% per annum. You read it in all the newspapers. Average income increase this year is 3% per annum. Just cost of living, and never get ahead. One of the marks of superior people is that they're very clear about the future. They think about the future most of the time. They've got a very clear idea of where they want to be sometime in the future. Unsuccessful people are very fuzzy about their future. Do you know how far the average American thinks ahead? 2 pay periods. According to the work at Harvard, they think about 2 pay periods ahead. And do you know what Walmart has decided their customer is? Their customer is the person who lives from paycheck to paycheck. Made them the most successful company in the world because they are so successful at identifying their customer. But most people live paycheck to paycheck. You, by the way, are all future-oriented. The reason I know you're future-oriented is nobody came here to learn how to become better in the past. You came here to learn how to be much more successful in the future. And that's the mark of superior people. That means you're in the top 10% of Americans living today. Now, some of you are looking at me and saying, if you knew how much money I was making, you wouldn't say I was in the top 10%. But here's the great rule. The rule is it doesn't matter where you're coming from. All that really matters is where you're going. And you can tell where you're going in the future by what you're doing in the moment. You can always tell the winners by what they're doing today. People say, I want to be wealthy, and then they go home and watch television. No, you don't want to be wealthy. You want to watch television. People say, I want to be wealthy, and they come to a James Malinchuk seminar. That means that they're serious. It means they do want to become wealthy, and they know the only way they can do it is by getting good at something that pays well. Consistently convert prospects into customers. Now, James was talking about that. People say, I'm not very good at selling. But selling is a skill. If I said, I'm not very good at making pancakes, but in order to be successful, you have to be able to make pancakes. But I'm not really good at making pancakes. And I've never been good at making pancakes. And my pancakes always stick. And they always come out runny in the middle and everything else. It's just a skill. You can learn to make pancakes. You can learn to sell. Everybody who can sell at one time could not sell. It's just a skill. The skill is, and I say, rather than looking upon it as selling, look upon it as communicating. Look upon it as persuading. Look upon it as helping people understand how much better off they can be with your product or service than without. That's all. And it's so amazing. People say, oh, well, it's a way of helping people, isn't it? Yes. Selling is just a way of helping people improve their life or work with your services. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. This is the key. People say this is a great product. People say this is a great seminar. People say this is a great speech. People say this is a great book. The key to success is what percentage of people who consume your product or service say this is a great product or service. This is the determinant, and this to me is the fulcrum. When I finally realized this, everything I've been studying in business for 30 years comes down to this one point, is people say this is a great product. So how do you get people to say that? You must think about it day and night. You must look at every single customer contact, every single product served. You must look at everything you do and say, how can we design this so people say, this is a great product. This is a great service. This is a great speech. This is a great book. This is a great planning format. Whatever it is, you want people to say, this is great. Now, when you say that, when I first thought about that, I realized that most people have feelings of inferiority, feelings of inadequacy, and they say, geez, I couldn't produce something great. But of course you can. Of course you can. What did Napoleon Hill say? Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If you say, I'm going to produce a great product, I'm going to produce a great seminar, then it's just simply a matter of learning how and practicing it over and over again until one by one people come up to you and say, this is a great seminar. I was talking to people yesterday outside of the seminar, outside of the ring here, and I said, how's the seminar going? They said, this is a great seminar. I'm learning so much stuff here. This is a great seminar. Now, that is the highest compliment you can pay in the whole world, is for people to say, this is a great seminar.